Hello everybody. Welcome to Studio Sessions at 2. My name's Michelle Adamas and I'm the owner of Vintage Revival Design Co. and we are live on YouTube and Facebook. If you do join me, I hope you'll say hello. Today we're going to be working with our gel prints. We're always asking all the time, how do I use my gel prints? They're so much fun to create, but then what do I do with them? So one of the things that I thought we could do is turn them into elements for our projects. And we're going to begin with a masterboard, and then we're going to use some stamps and do a little fussy cutting, and then next week we will turn these into a project. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up my project and we're going to go ahead and get started. Again, if you are joining me, I'd love it if you would say hello and let me know where you're watching from. It is raining here, and so I hope that you're not able to hear it, even though I can. And I'm going to try not to talk loudly because I think I have to talk over it. So anyway, I have a piece of 140-pound watercolor paper. I just wanted a heavy paper, and I didn't have a mixed media paper that was that heavy. And then I have a bunch of gel prints that I have scanned and digitized, and I have little pieces of them. So we are going to create a masterboard first, and to do that I'm going to be using a little yes paste. I could use a wet medium, but I'm just going to go ahead and use this paste. And I find that it spreads really well if I use a heavy-duty plastic card. But you could use a glue spatula or a silicone spatula, anything like that, but just something that you can easily clean up. The yes paste is super strong, and I find that by using this, I get a really nice even coat on my paper, because I don't want there to be any area on my paper where I've missed applying any adhesive. So I'm just going to start up here and get some adhesive all over. I have my paper torn down just to keep it, or taped down just to keep it in place, so that I don't have any like warping or anything like that. So I'm just going to start. I am just going to pick up different pieces and tear the edges. I'm going to start with the areas here where it is up at the top here, and I'll leave that straight edge for there, and then I'll save this little piece and we'll add something else. So I chose a small piece of paper so that we could do this fairly quickly. I want to try to keep these to about 30 minutes, these studio sessions, and do that. So a masterboard is one of my very favorite things to create, and because they are just so flexible and beautiful and just offer a lot of possibility. I wanted to have the masterboard created before we got started, but I didn't get there, so please forgive me for that. And really the idea is that we are just creating, we're just tearing. It doesn't really have a rhyme or a reason, except that maybe we're paying attention to some color that we're using. And you've got to watch this yes paste, because everything is going to stick to it for sure. And so I am going to come here. Oh, and I don't have it so that I can do the comments. So let me see what we've got here. Oops, not hide. I want to show the comments. Rachel is here. Thank you. I didn't mean to pop your thing up there. I don't know why I'm having a hard time showing that, but I would like to be able to interact. So I'm just going to see if I can get this on. And oh, you just got your gel plate, Rachel. I'm so excited. I don't know why. I was planning to play with it today. I hope you will. So the gel prints, we're using gel prints, Rachel, so I hope you'll find that interesting. The comments are going to be a little bit wonky. I don't know why. But I will do my best, and of course I'll come in and answer any questions that you have or respond when we're done if I'm not able to see it here. So I really do love a torn edge. I just love the look of that. I need a little adhesive here, so I'm going to put that down there. You just want to make sure that everything is secure. And so I'm going to add a little bit more here. The gel plate is so much fun. I would love to see what you create with it, Rachel. That would be wonderful. That's my favorite thing, is to see what you create. And so I'm just going to press this down. We won't be too you know, fussy with this, but I'm going to, since I've got one coming this way, I think I'll go a little bit here. And I just add as I go, and I can go over my printable as well. I just want to make sure that I have adhesive everywhere that I need it. All right, so I'm going to go here and overlap there, and then we haven't really used this one, so I'm going to go ahead and put some in here. I think I still have enough medium in here. If I get a little bit of white, it's helpful when you're tearing printables if you can tear in a direction where you don't have the white space. Hi Dawn, how are you? And but it's not a problem because we can address that as we go on. So let me see if I've got one that we haven't used a lot of yet. So we're not taking too long with this. I think I'm going to come down here. Let me just get a little more glue. And like I said, this is, if you're working with the Yes paste, you want to work on a non-stick surface, because literally you will be covered in whatever you're working with because it is just so sticky and strong, which is what we want, but we might not want to be covered in it, right? All right, so I'm just going to pull that up here, and then I'm going to add this little piece. I'm going to need something different. Let's see what else I've got to work with here. I'll put a little more of this blue here, I think. I can leave that straight edge since it's going to go there. The difference is that if I remember to pull away from the paper, but either way, even the little strip that I'm going to have is going to have a little bit of that white space. So I don't worry about it too much. I just address it when I get down there. So here I need to go over my paper with some adhesive, and we're almost done with this. We'll dry it and then I'll show you what we're going to do with it. This is a really fun way to make really unique elements for your creative projects. So you just use your gel plate prints. And like I said, if we're going to go through all of that to enjoy making them, we should put them to good use, right? Thank you, Chris. How are you? And I love the colors too. They're really, and these really did make me think of Botanicals. So I thought, let's just use these. All right, we don't have that many left to do. Oops, I don't want that straight edge on there, so I'm going to tear that away. And I'm going to have to wipe up my hands. Rubbing alcohol is really good to have on hand because it can help you get rid of the stickiness so that you're not, you don't glue yourself to something. I could add a little yellow, but I'm going to go ahead and stick with the greens. And so I'm going to put another, this has got a little bit of a yellow in it, which I like, and I don't want to tear that off. So let's see what we can get here. I had some book pages, but I decided just to use what I've got here. And so you can do these pieces as big or as small as you want. But for time's sake, we're going to go on the side of, yeah, I'll just do that. But again, I don't want that straight edge there. I have an aversion to straight edges, I think. And so we're going to do this here. And let's see. Rachel, I apologize. You're watching from YouTube and it's really not showing. I can tell that you're there, but it's got your comment kind of hidden. So I will go back and reply. But thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. So this has got a little bit of a bold, but it's too close down there. So let's see if we can, what haven't I used? I think, okay, I haven't really used this. So I think let's do that. We'll just do another little bit here and I'll get the straight edges off. It's sticking to me. I'm gonna have little bits of paper stuck to me for a while. But this is really fun. You could use the technique that we did last week by doing something like this, using it as a background and applying a transparent paper over it. But I think the way that we're going to use these, and again, I'll demonstrate a couple of the elements that we're making, and then I'll have more made for when we're together next week. All right, so I'm going to stick that, and now I just have a couple of little areas that I need to fill in, and so I'm going to, do I have enough adhesive on here? I'm going to come here, at least because it's a different shape. I think that works, and then we just need something right here. So I'm looking, and I think I'm going to go, this is one of my favorites with the little blue circles, so let's do that. Even though I've used it quite a bit, I think it's okay. Okay, hi Bev, how are you? It's so good to see you. Thank you for joining. All right, we're gonna come here and we're going to do this, and I think I've got it covered. So now what I need to do is just clean this up, and this is what I mean. I use so much rubbing alcohol that I keep some in a little condiment bottle, and so I'll pour this on, but it just really does help with the stick, okay, and gets all of that glue off of this so that I can use it again. So I'm just gonna pick up my bits so they're not sticking to me, and we're gonna dry this up pretty quickly, and then we'll go on to the next step. And what we're going to be doing is an easy botanical element using a stamp, so that you don't need any drawing capability. If you are good at drawing and love that, you can do that, but you don't have to. So I just want to show you how easy that can be. So I'm just going to get my heat tool, and we're going to dry up this adhesive pretty quickly. It may lift my tape, I don't know, but we'll dry this up. And so we've just got this really pretty background, and I'll show you what I mean by adding just a transparent paper over it to soften it. So we've been working with jelly plate prints in the Artisan Circle and having a lot of fun with those. So, all right, so it's pretty sticky. I'm going to, I don't know if I've got some parchment paper here. Let me see if I've got some parchment paper. I do. So I'm going to get a piece of parchment paper, and we'll turn this upside down. I can't do that and dry at the same time, so we'll see what we're doing. Oh my goodness. I think it's going to be, it's pretty sticky. All right, so we're going to do the parchment paper, and then we'll see what we've got. So I'm using a piece of parchment paper because this is so sticky. I'm going to go ahead and cut this and then clean my scissors really well because I don't want all that sticky. I'm going to go ahead and cut off the tape this time instead of using the X-Acto knife. I'm just going to cut that tape away so that I'm just left. I'm going to have a little white there. I'm not worried about that. That'll be okay. And so we're just going to release this because we're going to be stamping on the back of this. And so I have this piece of parchment paper so that because I do have a little wet medium, that I can go ahead and work with this and not ruin my design. All right, so just another thing that you can do with Masterboards. I'm not even being careful with it. Ooh, I do want to be careful with all that stickiness though, because I can see that I'm starting to lift some of my paper, and I'll have to address that because my hands are acting like a little magnet for it. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and turn this upside down onto my parchment paper since it's non-stick. And I have the Franz Botanical stamp by Iron Orchid Designs. And I'm just going to take a few little elements. I'm going to take this small one because this will work, and I'm going to take this little leaf. Well, I really love this one actually, and it'll be easier to cut out, so I could just take these out. So I think I'm going to use, I really love the shape of this one, and I can get that. So we'll just do a couple here. And I'll try to get them, I don't need too much of the stem, so I'll try to get as many as I can. I would typically do this on a much larger Masterboard so that I could get a lot of images out of it. And so I can do this one, and I can go this way, it doesn't matter. And then I can do a little, why don't we just do 3 of them? Okay, I'll do this one. Okay, and so I'm going to just see where I want them. I'm going to turn them upside down because I'm going to lift it up. In fact, I think I'll just go, I really just want the leaves, and I don't need the whole stem. So I'll go here. I could even fit something in there, but we're just going to go with this for today. All right, so I have this block. I'll move these, and I'm going to just pick that up. And I'm just using, it really doesn't matter what color ink you use because we're going on the back of this. And I bet by now you know exactly what we're going to do. Okay, so I'm just going to stamp that. I don't know if I would get more of it here. I'm going to try this and let's see what we do. I want to use up as much of my paper as I can. Okay, so I have that image there. And now let's do this one. I'll just ink that up. And it shouldn't come through. I can even come here. So you can use it kind of like a puzzle. So I can let that little stem go there because we're going to be cutting these out anyway. And let's just do these 2 because I want you to be able to see what we're doing. And I did get, it's still a little sticky. So we're going to just say a little prayer and that I haven't ruined my scissors. And then basically I'm going to just fussy cut. I've got my Masterboard here. And hi Kim, how are you? Thank you for popping in. And I'm just going to, I don't even have to be super detailed with it because we are going to stamp the other side as well. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this out, and let's see if we can just let the details do their thing. Maybe I have started with the smaller one. I don't know. But I want you to see the impact that this can have. And I'll save these other little bits from the Masterboard. And so I'm just going to go around this and put that there. And so we're starting to cut out our leaf shape. Excuse me. And then when this is done, we have a really beautiful element. I'm going to come up here. It's pretty thick paper. But you can do all kinds of things with these. They're just elements for your art journal or for your tag projects or just a larger design. I just love these. So I'm getting that shape. I should have started with the smaller one. Thanks for hanging in there with me. So you could do birds, you could do any of your stamps would work with this. They don't have to be IOD, they can be something. And you can play along with this. I just think it's really fun to work from a Masterboard, and I am really pulling this up. So, okay. If you're not live, you can let everything dry properly, or you could be a little more prepared. That was a note to myself, but hey, all right. It's real life. All right, so I'm just gonna cut here. I don't want to cut that off. Did I get it? I'm going to pull. Okay. And then we're going to pull here. Got this little bit. Okay, so you can see it starting to take shape here. And that's what we're going for. And then I'm going to have a little bit. So it's not going to be perfect because I didn't let it dry. I'm pulling it up in some places that I really don't want to. But you get the idea. So if you're doing this at home, you would want to make sure that all of your adhesive is dry before you do this step, that all of your bits on your Masterboard are secure and intact, and you will have a much easier time with this step than I am having. Okay, so let's pull this away. So now what we have is this really beautiful shape, and this would look so pretty on, I had a little piece of, I mean, here's just a little like just another collage. So you can layer them or anything like that. So even though this isn't dry, we're going to hold our breath and pick up this stamp again. And we're going to stamp over it. It's also the beauty of clear stamps is that you can see where you're applying your image. You could do it two ways. You could come down here and do it this way, just like this, or we could take this image and actually lay it. Oh no, we can't because it goes this way. So let's see. I was supposed to do it backwards. Okay, so I guess I'm just going to, I don't know, let's just see what we get here. Hold on. I'm still getting some of that leaf, but what I want to do, there's always a fix, you guys, always a fix. All right, so I'm going to come here and stamp these, okay, just like that. And then here, I'm going to stamp this one using the corner of my ink pad, and we're going to do that one just like that, and then we're going to do, I'm going to wipe this off so I don't get any of that, and then we're going to do this one. So see, there's always a fix. All right, and I'm going to come here and stamp this one. And so now we've brought back the leaf details onto our jelly print cutout that we created with the stamp. So this is something that you can use. Again, we're going to be creating a mixed media. I don't know. I haven't decided. Should we do a journal page? Should we do something on a canvas? I'm not sure, but it's just another way to use your gel prints, starting with a Masterboard collage. So I hope you enjoyed this. These studio sessions, I try to keep them shorter. but it doesn't always work out. And I'm going to let these dry. So when we meet next week, I will have several of these done and some other elements, but I encourage you to get out your gel plates and practice and make some gel prints or paint on paper. Or use papers that you have. You could do this with scrapbook paper. You don't have to use gel prints, but just take a variety of papers and create a masterboard like we did, and then just stamp with them or draw on them or cut shapes, whatever you want to do. But you end up with something that is really unique and a lot of fun to work with. So thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate your being here, and oh, you're so welcome, Bev. Thank you. And so I appreciate your being here, and I hope you're enjoying Studio Sessions for Two and will join me every Tuesday. So take care, everybody. Happy creating, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye.